evening.
My name is Francisco Roque, and I am a very gay man. I'm a very gay man, and I worked with GMAC for about 5 or 6 years. Before I left about a year ago, I oversaw the Women's Institute and the Institute for Gay Men's Health. Really community-level interventions and community health. And I chose to take a break and take care of myself and step back. I've had the privilege of speaking at this event twice prior. And I think this is going to go a little different now that I'm sort of a free agent. Right? I'm really happy to be here, and I think what I want to talk about is what I said, what it looks like for me to be a very gay man. And I want to shape that around three instances in my life in particular. The first is really at a very young age when I was picked on for being gay, right? And for me, at that time, inside of that experience, what I made up about myself was that I didn't matter, that I was different, and that I was alone. And inside of that experience, I had to flip it, right? Because I believe that as human beings, we're really resilient. And inside of that resilience, what I did really was let me reshape that. What I created was independence. Right? I became independent. I became creative and artistic. I figured out how to make that work for myself. I developed a strategy for survival. A second incident that occurred in my life was really when I first kissed a boy. I love being in this space talking about that. Right? It's so great. And so when I first kissed a boy, he actually punched me in the face. In that moment, what I made up about myself was that I was unlovable, that I was different, and that I would be alone. And because I am resilient, I developed a strategy for survival, and I became funny, and the class clown, and really looked to have that be the way that I survived and got through. And then a third instance in my life was when I found out I was HIV positive. And what I made up about myself in that experience was that that I was hopeless, that there was no hope, that I was no longer in control of my life. And that I was not enough. And because I elected to be resilient, I turned that into being an overachiever, being independent, being funny still. And those became my strategies for survival. And for a very long time, I thought that was my good news. Right? You would think, that's my good news. I'm funny, I'm creative, I'm independent, I am an overachiever, I accomplish results. I held myself as though that was my good news. And it wasn't until I paused this year that I realized that it wasn't, in fact, my good news, because I was in reaction to all of the things that had occurred to me. And so that really messed with my head. Being a control freak, that really messed with my head, because I came to realize that I wasn't in the driver's seat, really. That I was being creative so that I didn't have to feel that way again that I felt when I was picked on. I was being an overachiever. I was accomplishing results so that I would no longer feel that loneliness that I felt when I was punched in the face and I had a crush on a boy. And I think that that's not unique to gay people. right? We all have experiences that we can look in our lives to when we made up something about ourselves and figured out how to push through it and be resilient. And for me, really, the realization this year has been that I don't want to be in reaction. I want to really proactively declare where I'm going and have my today be informed by where I'm going. And I want to make choices based on where I'm going and who I'm going to become and what I'm going to do with my life, and not in reaction to what's occurred to me in the past. And for me, that's, you can sense I'm a little emotional about it because it's really an empowered interpretation. And for me, I've dealt with empowerment, and we look at empowerment workshops and self-help books and all this and that. But really, it's when I got that I could actually declare what I want life to look like and take charge of that and have my now be informed by where I'm going. I really now understand where my power lies, and I can be vulnerable and open, and I can be creative, and I can be independent because I'm clear about my intention, and my intention is to support other people, to really love and just be love and really be a stand in the world for what works. And that's really, when I think about everything must change, that's really what I think about. I think about consciousness changing and a shift in how we think and live our lives, with the disease and without the disease, right? How we choose to live our life. And as a gay man, I really find myself in new ground. And in taking new ground, what that means to me is a commitment to no longer be in reaction. And that can look a whole bunch of ways, right? And one of the ways that I think it can really look is to shift as a community and to not only organize around tragedy, not only come together for vigils and rallies, but to come together to create gatherings that celebrate the things that are working, to come together and elevate and celebrate the many LGBT men and women who are fighting in the military for us, right? To come together and create events that elevate and lift up and celebrate our love, that really look at our uniqueness, our creativity, our intuition, our ability to relate across gender, and celebrate that in such a way that young people get what's beautiful about being LGBT. And that we are not only looking to fight for equality, but really looking to celebrate who we are, to celebrate our uniqueness, to celebrate our talents, our gifts. And I really believe that that is key in, it's key in getting out of survival mode, which I think has, in many ways, driven how we deal with this epidemic, and how we interact with it. And so, really everything must change, and yet change is the only thing that is constant, right? I think what we must do is make friends with change, and redesign our relationship to change, so that we're not terrified by it, but we come to realize that it is through change, it is through falling, it is through the breakdowns that the breakthroughs will come. It is through clarity. It is really through a willingness to be present and connected that I think we will, in many ways, make leaps and continue to make leaps in how we support each other, love each other, and address this epidemic. I am at a really great place and more optimistic than I've ever been, and truly feel like I'm living my life now, and have stopped to do so. And you know, I've had many friends I've seen many people come and go, and I've lost a lot of young people who I mentored to HIV, and had friends pass, and have struggled with that for so long. And really what, at the end of the day, keeps me going is a willingness and really it's a commitment to live my life and to be joyous and to be loving through that. And thank you for indulging me, because I chose to really just speak from the heart and not prepare anything this time. And I really want just to convey that although we spend so much of our time skirting some of the real issues, the only way out is through. And I am grateful for all the experiences that I've had in my life. And I am grateful for what is to come. And really, what I am clear about is my intention to move forward in a way that's responsible and loving. And you can count on me to be trusting. And you can count on me to get outside of the box and create results that are, well, that really truly support young people and inspire them to see what works about them, and really support them in getting the lessons that many of us have and are holding onto so dearly. And so really, I guess, the point of all that I'm saying is, inside of everything must change. For me, that is really a cry and an invitation to those of you who are here and beyond. It's really a cry and an invitation to go bolder and to go bigger and to be who we are unapologetically, not only within our circles but outside of our circles, to have the difficult conversations across the dinner table. And that really is pride. In and outside of a rally, in and outside of a parade, that really is how pride can show up inside of our lives. It's a willingness to be bolder. And so, thank you for having me, Christian Stone, tonight. And I hope that I've conveyed something that will, I think, have you leave tonight with a question. And really the question is, if everything must change, how and what must change, and how can I be a catalyst for change, right? And last thing I actually want to do is I've seen a lot of familiar faces, and one of the things that I love about this event is how it's also celebratory, and it's about celebrating life. And I would love to see a show of hands. How many folks here have been to this event prior? Yeah, almost all the hands are up. And I would really love to invite you to stand for, I would love to see all of us next year bring at least 5 people to this event that have not come to this event before. And take a stand and have difficult conversations and get outside of our comfort zone, whatever that looks like. But this space should be packed. Shouldn't it? This space should be packed. And if we're really to be a stand, then let's stand inside of a commitment to continue to educate and to continue to have those conversations so that the space doesn't look like this next year. And that's really, I'm going to end on that. Thank you for indulging.